District 103.
It is my pleasure to interview one of the world champions of 2005, Lance Miller.
Thank you,
Lance,
Jerome.
so good to meet you.
Thank you.
First thing, where are you from?
I live in Los Angeles. I live actually technically in Glendale, California, but it's part of the Los Angeles metropolitan area. I'm originally, though, from back here. I grew up in Indiana, and I lived in Chicago for a short while in the mid-'80s. I'm a Midwesterner at heart.
But you fight traffic every day in LA.
Well, you fight traffic right in Chicago, you know?
So walk me back. 2005, I have actually watched your world championship speech. It was absolutely moving, and it kind of inspired me, and I'm sure other people, to join Toastmasters. Well, what was your journey? Like, why did you join Toastmasters? And just kind of just walk us back. What drove you to actually be part of this great organization?
When I came to my Toastmasters club, it was in October 1992. I didn't even know what Toastmasters was. And I had a friend of mine kept saying, "Oh, we're having so much fun, come to a Toastmasters meeting." So I showed up. I was doing some speaking at that point, and I really enjoyed speaking. But it just looked like a fun thing to do. It looked like a fun group of people. And to be honest, part of my motivation was the fact that I had a little audience that I could talk to on a weekly basis.
Wow.
I had a lot of things I wanted to say, and then after 4 speeches, I ran out of topics. You know, it's like I had all these things I wanted to say, and then all of a sudden I'm going, that was it? And then I had to sort of start digging, but it was just a fun thing to do. When I joined, I wasn't planning on being a world champion. I didn't think I could. That was for really, great people. I was just looking to have some fun. It was a great group of people. I was looking for something in my life I could apply myself to and win and contribute to. I was having a tough time in a lot of the businesses I was being employed by because of the management knows and wasn't getting the career path I wanted, and I was very frustrated. And Toastmasters gave me a venue to sort of play.
So you touched on something very powerful earlier. After you did your 4 speeches, you ran out of material. Walk us through, how did you find new material?
Well, first of all, I think it's interesting. A lot of times, I've run into this a lot of areas. You have things in your head, you don't get them out, they have a tendency to bounce around like a couple of pinballs. And once you get them out, a lot of times you don't have that many things we think we do. So I had all this stuff I wanted to talk about, and after 4 speeches, I'm like, I remember that 5th speech, I don't know what to talk about. That was one of the biggest things I learned in Toastmasters, was how to find my messages, but that was a long journey. But I did things like go to my pantry, close my eyes, reach in and grab something. I grabbed a jar of peanut butter one time. So I did a speech on peanut butter. Wow. I would challenge myself to just pick a topic and figure out how to do a speech on it. Now here's the key thing, they weren't always great speeches. But it was going through the learning process of trying it. But it was amazing. I would just come up, I got to talk about something, and one of the things I would look at, what's my attention on right now? What am I upset about? What am I happy about? What happened today? I would have situations where I'd be stuck in traffic, and I go, what's special about this moment right now? And I would find something to talk about in that moment. I'd walk by a set of stairs, and I go, do a speech on those stairs, and I would come in my mind, how to do a speech about using stairs. I drilled myself over and over, constantly challenged myself to find speech topics. That was over years, But
you said something that was very powerful again. You said finding your message, but finding your message, somehow you found the courage not to fail, or that some people would think of Toastmasters as like, I have to have a perfect speech. I have to make sure it's exactly the way I want. And sometimes they might hold back, or not even, they might come for a little bit and stop coming because they feel like they can't reach that level. What advice would you give someone who falls in that kind of category?
Well, one of the biggest things I learned in Toastmasters, quite honestly, was how to fail and how to lose.
Yes.
What happens is, we go to school, and this used to tick me off. The teachers would say, I'd get like a B on a test.
Right.
And they go, well, you learned from your mistakes. I go, great, let me take the test over. They go, no, you're stuck with the grade. I go, well, if I learned from my mistakes, let me learn and then go take the test so I can get an A. And so all through life, when we screwed up, we have this punishment or this invalidation that comes out at us. And in Toastmasters, it is a safe place to fail. It's a safe place to mess up. What do? You get some feedback. They still love you. They want you back at the meeting. As an example, I had a really hard time reading a speech.
Oh.
If I would usually work off some bullet points. I was great standing from the audience to the talking at the top of my head. Reading a speech, my attention came down on that piece of paper, came off the audience. I was stumbling through the words. I did the interpretive reading manual twice to to develop my ability to read a speech. And that's helped me professionally in executive positions where I'm handed speeches that a board or a marketing company, as a PR company, has written, and I have to read the speech somebody else wrote. I had to figure out how to be able to make that seem as natural as I was saying it, and I learned that by screwing up and messing up and failing and stumbling around inside a Toastmasters club, getting my ability honed in. To me, Toastmasters is a great place to fail. You come here and make all your mistakes in Toastmasters, so you don't make them at work.
That is, thank you for sharing that. Thank you for really sharing that. How did Toastmasters, when you talked about it a little bit like professionally, how did it help you evolve professionally?
Believe it or not, two things. One, it gave me confidence that I could work with people. Because a lot of what I got out of Toastmasters is on the leadership, club management side. People know me as a world champion speaker, but 6 years before winning the world championship, I was one of the people in my club that was instrumental in taking a club that had about 12 active members in it, up to 95 members, number 4 club in the world.
Wow.
And learning to motivate people and playing a game and keep it fun and keep it active, I started applying that when I got jobs to the departments I was running. And keeping people winning was my main key that I was working on. It wasn't like, there wasn't the downward pressure of, I'm going to squeeze you until you work harder.
Sure.
It was the inspiration and the motivation to have you excited and tapping into that free will of that person wanting to do the job and not punishing them if they made a mistake. We'd sit down and say, well, what happened? We're a little smarter now. Good. So they weren't sitting there afraid to make a mistake, which a lot of people are in the workplace. They're scared they're going to screw up so they don't act.
Wow. So what advice would you give someone who is maybe middle point in their career, or maybe beginning their career? What would you say to them to help them, to encourage them to maybe go to Toastmasters?
Well, the big thing is, the further up in any organization you go, the higher in leadership, the more you need soft skills. You need motivational skills for people. And if you're an engineer, when you start, you got to know your formulas and all your engineering information. As you come up, you have less and less engineering and more. You're working with the people. And one of the big things that happens is, in any business I see, is that people have a tendency to go on a job and sort of do the irreducible minimum on the job. And they're not really creating it and running with it.
Sure.
And what I encourage people to do is, let's see what we can do to tap that untapped potential into an individual and get the best ideas on the table and have everybody creating the team we're on. But what happens, again, it just happens growing up, we have, whether it's teachers or bosses or whatever, that don't want anybody rocking the boat. So they tell you to sit there and shut up, I don't want to hear from you.
Right.
And so we sort of get in this mode where we stop creating our life and moving on. The best thing you can do, and I've had great success putting a lot of volunteer teams together and getting people to contribute way beyond what they could, and those people's lives change. The individuals' lives change when you create an environment that they can come in and do that. And that's what I really encourage people to do, is get into Toastmasters, and don't do Toastmasters for Toastmasters' sake. Do it so that you're developing skills that help you achieve your goals in life, help you get along with people, help you get along with your family better, give you a better career, create a better place for people to come to work, create a better neighborhood through your Toastmasters skills. Because you understand we're all human beings and we all have the same frustrations and inabilities trying to get the ideas out of our head, you know?
There's no saying that Toastmasters, even though it's a public speaking platform, most people spend the majority of their time listening. And how did listening, if I'm a new member, I'm coming to the club, I'm listening for probably a month or two before I give my first speech, or maybe even a role.
In my club, you're up the next week. But to address a big problem we have in the world is everybody wants to be heard, nobody wants to listen, right?
Correct.
And a lot of people don't realize the way the Toastmasters program works is when you're in those functionary positions, you're being a timer, you're being a ballot counter, you're being an awe counter. You never heard an awe until you were the awe counter. And now they give you whiplash. You're the grammarian and you have to listen for the clever usages or improper usages. So you have to listen to that speech. And that's really the beginning of your evaluation skills, is getting the timing down, the awe counting down, the grammarian stuff, learning to listen. Even the ballot counter role of seeing how different people vote gives you insight on what other people think are good speeches when you do that. But so much of Toastmasters is really that listening component.
Right.
The most difficult thing in Toastmasters is to be a great speech evaluator. And in my club, we call it coaching. Because I can evaluate you, and I can say, you know, you're fat and you're ugly. That doesn't help you. That doesn't help you come back. I evaluate you, right? Okay? But can I make you into a better speaker?
Correct.
So we call it coaching, and can you find the thing that elevates the person, motivates them to the next level? But that takes listening, takes insight. Okay? And as a manager and an executive, one of the biggest things that's missing in organizations is listening to the employees and the people that
Correct.
they feel they have a voice. Most management, it's coming down, this is what I need you to do, is not, hey, tell me what's going on. And that's how you empower people, and that's how you make people important, is in knowing that they are being heard.
Wow.
And one of the biggest things I see that Toastmasters gives us is the confidence to listen to other people.
Great. You have helped, just with your videos and some of the material that I've watched of yours, millions of people. And if you were to speak to those people right now, giving them a little bit of words of wisdom, which you give a lot of, but some key things of, what would that be?
To me, I think the key thing is we all have very valuable messages inside us. And it may not be the fact that, you know, we were run over by a steamroller. And we were in a body cast for 2 years. We're looking for the fact that, you know, I had stage 4 cancer, 12 different types, and I overcame it, and now I won the Boston Marathon. We're looking for this huge story. Some of the best stories we have are the little, tiny, simple stories. But here's what I would really tell people. It's in your ability to look at life and imbue the beauty into life that you want to see. The stories are right there. They're not on the horizon, they're on the tip of your nose.
Beautiful.
And it's our authenticity, it's our ability to define ourselves and realize what we feel is truly important in life and share that with someone else. Not tell that to somebody else, share that with somebody else. We talk about listening, we don't have enough listening, and we got too much telling.
Sure.
If we share, then people can determine whether they want to receive it or not. We share with them, we tell them, we're like ordering them. So the point is, what I tell people, look at your life and really assess what is important to you, truly important, and speak from your heart on what's important for you. It will be important to other people.
One last final thing I'm sure a lot of people are going to ask. Where can they find you? How can they contact you?
If nothing else, just go to YouTube and put Lance Miller Toastmasters. You'll get my speeches and stuff on that. But lancemillerspeaks.com is my website, and all my contact information is there. But Lance Miller Speaker, Lance Miller, there is a country music singer named Lance Miller. He's got lancemiller.com. And I was like, yeah, man, I always wanted to be a country music singer, but anyway. But he's the only other guy that typically comes up.
Okay.
Put in Lance Miller Speaking, Toastmaster, thing like that, you'll find my websites, you'll find all the stuff. Thank you.
Lance, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Appreciate it.
District 103.